and welcome to a possibly abbreviated Sports Den. I'm Scott. That's Mr. Kyle Krieger, and it's just the two of us today here in the United States. It is July 4th Eve, so a lot of people are basically off, unavailable, out of the country, out of the state, or just out of their minds. So we're going to kind of wing this one a little bit, see how long it goes, and kind of go from there. Two major topics of choice. If you have anything that you guys want to comment on, ask about, gripe about, bitch about, or grumble about in general, feel free to let us know on that. But in the meantime, how are you, sir?
I am hanging in there, trying to stay cool in this absurdly humid weather that we're having right now because we got both storms north of us and south of us, so we're in a nice happy little bubble of humid awfulness.
You too, huh?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I went outside before. We did a couple of chores, cleaned off the back deck chairs and everything. I came back in and my wife was like, "You smell." Like, did
Just
you
going
work out?
outside,
She's
it's
like, "Did you work
ridiculous.
out?" I'm like, "No, I just went outside." I mean, at this point, I sweat when I go up a flight of stairs, so no surprise really there.
Hmm.
Um, but I want to go into something right now, and I want to get this out of my system hardcore.
Hmm.
We're calling it Bad Air Day. ESPN lays off network mainstays in cost-cutting move, and this honestly, really, 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 really pissed me off. And you know what? Hang on a second. I wanted to fix that. That's the. um,
It's like
let's,
it's like I'm Kilroy down here with the
dude,
label.
really. So here's what we're gonna do.
There's a dated reference for you.
I know nobody's gonna get that reference there. Yeah, there. We'll do it that way. That's a little bit better. Um, but yeah, ESPN has announced that they laid off a ton of mainstays and a ton of basically people that had been a long time part of that organization. Susie Colbert, Keyshawn
Yeah.
Johnson, Jeff Van Gundy, Jalen Rose, Max Kellerman, which was a big part, from the boxing standpoint.
Kohler
Steve,
and Kellerman surprised me.
dude, it was a massive cost cutting measure, which ties into a couple of theories that I have here.
They
But
had tenure at that
dude,
point.
Colbert had Susie Colbert. By the way, that woman's 59 years old. I just want to point that out. Respect.
Hey, do you get
you
enough
know,
money to look that way? By all means, do so.
dude. But in her case, she joined ESPN in 1996,
Yeah,
and
no, she was
27 years.
long
She
term.
Yeah, almost half her life at this point that she had been with ESPN and gone. She was out the door on that. Keyshawn Johnson gone. Max Kellerman gone. Van Gundy gone. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on of just all of these staples
Crazy.
that ESPN had that are just gone as of Friday. Cost cutting
Hmm.
move right before July 1st,
Oh,
the new
yeah.
budgets and everything like that. And I have the full list here. I mean, Matt Hasselbeck, okay, Steve Young, like I mentioned here. Um, most of the names I've already mentioned, Jalen Rose, I think I mentioned as well, Todd McShay. But it blows my mind because we haven't gotten to the other part of this, but it blows my mind to see all of these people who's had been the groundwork for ESPN for so long, and it's just like, thank you. We'll mail you your gold watch, and see you later.
Pretty much. It's shocking. Like I said, Kellerman and Colbert, I'm very very surprised because even though they didn't really do too many big things
Mm-hmm.
lately, they were still mainstays. They were still I like the
Staple.
sport. Yeah, staple. They're staples. Like the term that I would use would be they would be like the leaders of the clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Like they basically had tenure. They were there so long. It's it's sad to see them go, but at least with those two, they will have zero problem
Mm-hmm.
finding a job somewhere or finding like their next opportunity for it. Because it's like you look at the resume, it's like, oh, and you're like, huh, sure. But yeah, no, that or they'll just do their own individual thing and make money
Mm-hmm.
off their own sponsorships. Like
Yeah.
now they're not associated. Now they won't need to be associated with ESPN. They'll just do their own thing. And honestly, those two have big enough names that they'll be fine. Jalen Rose has his money from his NBA days, so he can do whatever the heck he wants and be
Mm-hmm.
fine. And honestly, a bunch.
Steve Young too in the same way.
Yes, Steve Young,
Keyshawn.
Hasselbeck,
Mm.
Keyshawn. Oh, absolutely. But it's none of the people that got laid off are how to put it they're all pretty well off
Hmm.
from their own careers, their own experiences, etc. But
There was a couple names on there that actually, I mean, June Lee was a writer that got laid
mhm,
off. I don't
yep,
think I'm not sure if June Lee was pulling a lot of money on that, but there was a couple of
they'll be all
analysts who
right.
were pulling in like 70, 80, 90, which honestly, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, it's not bad, but it's not the Steve Young. I mean, Susie Colbert was making $3 million a year.
that's the other thing that I'm not that when I was looking at those like their paychecks, I'm like, yeah, I can see how they're the ones who are getting the boot because they are the largest.
Hmm.
They're the basically like they're the highest paid commentators that they had.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, the one who didn't get cut, Skip Bayless, should have gotten cut. But
That dude's gonna survive forever.
it honestly, out of all the people
They're gonna weekend at Bernie's
all
him
the
when he
people that got
dies.
cut, he should have been one of them, but he wasn't. Compared to like I would take Colbert over him any day of the
100%,
week,
oh, 100%.
any
Yeah.
day of the week. Give her his job,
Didn't
and
Shannon
she
Sharp,
will do
where'd he
tons
go?
better.
Sharp was gone, wasn't he?
I think he left. I think he might have left earlier.
Yeah.
If he did leave, he wasn't part of this
Mm.
unloading. Like I if he's not there, I think he left earlier on his own because Skip Bayless is a tool. But it's yeah,
Well, here's
it's
the
like I could see why they're the ones that got booted. Do I agree with all of them? No, but I can understand why, especially if it's a cost cutting measure. And at the and they I'll
it
give
gets
them credit.
weirder in a second, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I'll give them some credit. They actually did cut the bloated contracts instead of just laying off the army of interns or something like that, or the people who actually, really need the job.
Well,
But
yeah, basically, yeah, the people that were making an average salary, yeah. Now, are you aware of the other half of this?
I am not.
Well, it is not all just cost cutting move and getting rid of bloated contracts. They added somebody onto the roster.
Oh,
That's Pat McAfee.
right. They grabbed him.
5 million, 5 years, 85 million.
Didn't we talk about this like a few weeks ago where they seem to just be going for the people that have an Instagram following?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he is a YouTuber on that, and
Yeah,
obviously,
and that's I get and I obviously that's the direction that they're going to, I guess. But
at
it's
17 million a year though. So
yeah,
basically, all the people that they just wiped and all those contracts will equal pretty much right about the same amount, give or take, what Pat McAfee makes every year.
and
It's almost like
that's
they just washed
garbage.
one for the other. What's that?
That he is not worth that much.
Mm-mm. No. I enjoyed a little bit of his stuff on
Yeah,
YouTube
he's
years
it's like
ago,
he's
but
not bad, but
and to be fair, I mean, he did have Aaron Rodgers on, for that press conference, which may have been the reason why the ESPN went after him.
he was also constantly in doing WWE stuff too. So
Hmm.
he was still on camera. He was still doing stuff, and I guess that's what ESPN wanted, and basically destroyed all their analytics shows to accommodate him, which they're just
You
making
know,
some
I mean, he
I
has,
think that's a bonehead move. If you're going to be laying off the bloated contracts, you don't fill it with a singular, even more bloated contract.
yeah, he's going to
That's not
slip.
how you do it.
Apparently, it's right into the afternoon slot, is what I've been told. So the Pat McAfee show is going to go right into there. But at $17 million a year, that's like I said, getting rid of the mainstays who you did admit will have no problem finding work in any regard.
Yeah.
Susan Colbert will land on her feet quickly. Fox, HBO, even, or I'm sorry, Max. So no, I'm sorry, HBO. Um, let's call it what it is. What I want to call it here. I mean, there's CBS, NBC. There's the resume. She doesn't even have to have a resume. None of them do.
Yeah.
Television, boxing, whatever there's going to be boxing, Showtime, HBO, they're fine there. Steve Young, he will land with any one of the outlets that are doing football, even NFL Network. That's the same hold true for like Keyshawn too. But the
Yeah.
problem is, what would be ironic is if some of these guys went to ABC. Like Jalen Rose goes to ABC on there.
I was about to say, it's like you're going from Disney to Disney.
Yeah. I think that honestly, I think that'd be kind of hilarious in some ways. But
Yes and no, but then again, it's like it's like working at Pepsi. It's like working at like a Coca-Cola subsidiary,
mhm.
going from one subsidiary of the parent company to another one, and I'm sure that definitely helps get you a way in.
Sure.
But it's just it's under the same company, different banner. So they're honestly, it seems like they're just not going anywhere. They're just under a different budget.
if that's what they end up doing. But again, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously NBC's got
Mhm.
football,
Yeah.
CBS, Fox.
Mhm.
I mean, you got to admit, when you look at things like like Fox Sports, Terry Bradshaw, Jimmy Johnson, they're getting up there. Howie
Yep.
Long can still run for a couple more years, but Terry Bradshaw's got to be pushing 80 at this point. I mean, Steve
Mhm.
Young's 61, so he's no spring chicken either. But
Yep.
you know, I I don't get
Hasselbeck,
this.
same thing.
But
But
yeah.
honestly, they'll probably be popping on all the they'll probably pop on like Fox Sports or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, or as I said, ABC Sports, NBC Sports. They'll be fine. They might not be making as big of a paycheck, but they'll still be making more than enough to cover whatever they want, and they could pretty much ask for whatever contract price they
Mm-hmm.
want within reason.
And some of these
So,
guys probably could even do shows out of their house.
oh,
Dan
absolutely,
Patrick. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know Dan Patrick's full situation there, but I mean, he has the wherewithal to just like go back to the living room and just
Hmm.
broadcast. Paul
Yeah.
O'Neill for however
Oh
many years.
my God.
Paul O'Neill
David
broadcast
Cohn,
out of
Paul
his
O'Neill.
basement.
Yeah, everyone.
You
All
know,
of them.
it was funny about Paul O'Neill is basically when there was a doubleheader, he'd finish up a game, go upstairs, eat dinner with his family, and then come back down for game two.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
God damn, that commute rough.
he's got the stream. They definitely they set him up with the stream to his house, and might as well.
It's
It's cheaper.
I will say the commute through the house is pretty damn easy. I'm not going to argue that one at all. Sorry.
I know, I know.
Hey, I used to put 125 miles on my car every single day, 5 days a week.
That's what I do
And
right now.
now it's 125 feet. Is it really that long for you?
I drive from like the King of Prussia area down to Newark, Delaware.
Newark, Delaware. By the way, that is rough. And a 333-ish a gallon, whatever gas is these days.
I wish it was 333.
Okay.
It's like 330. Like it is cheaper in Delaware. It's around. Last time I checked, it was around 339.
Okay. I saw 333.
You're close. Very close.
Well, Jersey up here, it's a little bit less expensive, but it used to be stupid inexpensive. Until
then they removed the tax break.
Well, no, they didn't remove the tax break necessarily. What they did is they lowered the income tax by 1/8%. So from 7% down to 6.825, and then gave like a $4,000 veterans credit. But in the process, gas is now like $1.50 a gallon more than it used to be.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, any fluctuation gives them the excuse to just shoot it up to the moon.
Oh yeah. And we just accept it and get used to it and deal with it.
Yeah.
But by the way, I just want to point out one last thing. He's from a town called Plum in Pennsylvania. Plum,
Pennsylvania. McAfee?
Yeah. It's outside of Pittsburgh, but
there's a lot of talent coming from the tri-state area in Pennsylvania.
Find it funny the town's called Plum. That's just simple.
No, there's a town called Hell. So
there is, and also Intercourse in Pennsylvania.
Intercourse. Have you ever been to Intercourse, Pennsylvania?
Oh yeah, all right. Yeah.
Even more funny is if it was an Amish country.
Well, speaking of being screwed, and also at the same time, hell. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's completely understandable because they've been playing like crap, and they deserve any criticism that you send at them. Well, most criticism that you send their way.
I pulled up some stats here. If you're interested in some stats here,
sure.
The Yankees, your team of loyalty here. June 4th was the day that Aaron Judge went on the injured list.
Yeah.
Since that time, the Yankees have a major league worst 215 batting average, a major league worst 285 on base percentage, a second worst runs in 89, a worst in plate appearances with 865, and their slugging is a fifth worst 360. That is without
they
Aaron
don't
Judge
know how to hit. It's like every single damn one of them swings for the fences.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's a collective pile of failure like this, it's like, yeah, you could throw a lot of blame on the players, throw a lot of blame on those hitting coaches too, because they ain't doing jack.
And also maybe even like some of the trainers too, because those injuries are out the wazoo. It's a pain, and it's you look at what Aaron Judge has been out for about a month now,
and we don't know how long he's gonna be out even longer, because it turns out the injury was worse than it looked.
There's questions he might not even be available for July. They've had a
Yeah.
losing record since he actually went out.
Well, it's because no one can step up and hit.
Hmm.
Their best hitter has been Billy McKinney, and that being said, he's fantastic. Like he's been doing fantastic, and I'm glad they got him because he's fit in perfect. He's fitting fantastically. He's basically doing what's his name? If they
Well,
held on to him.
Rizzo wasn't bad, or Bader.
Rizzo's a low average, high hits,
Mm.
but he gets hits usually when he needs to, or at least puts up a good at bat when he needs to. He doesn't just flail and strike out like Donaldson or Stanton.
Yeah.
So,
By the way, that's the first picture that came up for Billy McKinney. I just want to point that out. That's
perfect. Works for me.
It's like a poor man's Michael Jordan tongue thing going on.
Yeah, but hey, if he's the only one that's really hitting. He's hitting around 300. That is more than what I can ask for
Mhm.
a emergency free agent pickup. I will take that any day.
That's fair.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's like who the heck was it? It was the guy who played left field last season. Then he got hurt
Well,
immediately.
IKF was IKF's the
It
new one.
wasn't IKF. It was the guy it's like they traded for him off of Kansas City. Oh my,
Benintendi. Benintendi.
Benintendi. Yeah, he's basically doing what Benintendi should have been doing if
Hmm.
they re-signed him, but they didn't re-sign him. So moot point. Dealt with the nightmare that is Aaron Hicks. Got rid of him.
And he's doing okay. He's doing decent over there in
He
Baltimore.
he's fallen back down to
He
earth.
has fallen. He's like 263
Yeah.
batting
No,
average, granted. But,
it's like anyone was like, oh, look how well he's playing as he got off the Yankees. Yeah, wait 2 weeks. He'll be back to normal right quick and in a hurry. So is Joey Gallo.
Oh God, Gallo, yeah.
Gallo has fallen face down back to earth as well. Once people realized that he still can't hit a high fastball.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's like the scouts had the scouting reports from the Yankees. Now they had like different. Now he's on a different team, different situations. He still doesn't know how to hit well. Neither does Gallo. They both just swing for the fences and hope for the best.
Do you want to know? Actually, this doesn't
You might
surprise
as well Gallo might as well just be closing his eyes when he swings.
me. That's kind of how I swung when I was in Little League. By the way, I just want to point that out.
That's how Donaldson's swinging right now.
Dude, I was very proud to say, that 2 out of my 3 years in Little League, I led the league in strikeouts and walks.
Nice.
Because the bat never left the damn shoulder, and you just pray to God the kids can't don't forget.
See, I was. It's like for me in Little League, I was the guy who I always hit at the lower part of the lineup, but I was usually a high average hitter.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm slow as crap, so that doesn't really work out too well. It's like I have a leadoff hitter swing, but with no power and no speed.
Just want to point this out. I'm looking at some of the stats here. Aaron Judge right now has 51 hits on the season and 19 home runs, which is about a 40% rate.
Yeah.
There's only one player on that team that has a higher home run to hit ratio than Aaron Judge. Do you know who it is?
Higher than Aaron Judge.
As far as the percentage goes.
It's not McKinney. He's too new. Well,
no, McKinney.
I'm gonna say
McKinney's 25% of the time,
IKF.
by the way.
I'm gonna say IKF.
It is. I don't believe it is IKF. Let me just check his stats real quick.
I was gonna say because he's been popping some, and now that he's playing more.
IKF has one home run in every 9 at bats.
Every
9 hits rather. Sorry, stretch of 9.
Which is still pretty good for IKF, especially considering last year. But then he's not playing every day, so he's playing a lot more now. But not Volpe. He's not Rizzo.
He homers in 72.7% of his hits.
Donaldson?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm looking at the stats right now.
He's swinging for the fences.
He has 11 hits on the season, by the way. He's 136 batting average, which you already addressed. 11 hits on the season, and 8 of them have been home runs.
And it's like, yeah, he is the epitome of he is a 2 outcome hitter. Home run, out.
Remember there was that one guy, was it Chris Carter or something? There was that Yankee for a short time, like 2017. He played with the team, led the league in home runs, then signed with them, and they released him halfway through.
Something like that. I was going to say it wasn't Chris Davis. It might have been Carter. Yeah, because he went on that home run tear, got signed by the Yankees, completely fell off the face of the earth, and then they quietly shipped him out of there.
Yeah. These numbers are not on par with that. I mean, it's going to be safe to say that they are not going to re-sign Donaldson at the end of the season. But
honestly, they should just eat his contract and let him play elsewhere. They should pull a Hicks with him.
I know I've said this before.
Eat the contract for the year.
I mean, do you for the last 80-ish games of the season? I mean, listen, actually, no, 84. They've got 78 games left on the season at this point. Is it really worth it? I mean,
no.
Is it really worth it to just not write
It depends. If they can get prospects for him, yes. They'll just eat the contract for the year. Let LeMahieu stay at third base. They have enough infielders that they can work it. They have enough infielders. They have Peraza. They have Cabrera. They have a lot of people that can play third base. They're not in dire need of that. It's just Donaldson is such a hole in an already bad lineup. The lineup's playing terribly, and he is somehow doing worse. No, I can't stand. It's like, I'm sure he's not a bad defender, as we saw during the perfect game for all 10 runs himself, Domingo Germán. It just that is an epitome of baseball right there. As a little side note, Domingo Germán throwing a perfect game is just that's baseball in a nutshell.
Arguably one of the most unlikable based on his resume.
Absolutely.
Unlikable
and unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a couple years ago, Corey Kluber threw that perfect or that no hitter.
That was during a really good season for Corey Kluber, and no, never mind. I'm thinking of Keuchel.
No, he came.
Kluber did the no hitter against the Rays.
Yes, or against the Rangers, I thought, but
no, it was Rays.
Was it?
I think it was the Rays.
But yeah, because I remember, Michael Kay talked about him being part of Forever, which ironically Ryan Ruocco said that Domingo Germán is now part of Forever. But here's the weird thing. I'm looking at, like I said, I'm breaking down the stats here.
No, it was the Rangers. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it was 2-0 on the road. That's right. Because he played against a team that he threw like one pitch against, one pitch for. He only played like one game for the Rangers.
Yep.
But looking at DJ LeMahieu right now, batting .225. They got him.
It's like when they re-signed him, he was basically set to be their leadoff guy. And when they signed him, it did seem like a very good contract. But then he started getting hurt.
Yeah, but it's also
started getting hurt and then losing speed on his bat. And then their hitting staff, their hitting coach staff is a bunch of clowns. So it's gonna happen. And so it's like they always play like they play well until they get hurt. So between the trainers and between the hitting staff, what the hell's going on there? And you don't see this anywhere else on teams with payrolls that big, except the Mets. But that's beside the point.
I was saying if Brandon were here on that one, but
I'm gonna take the pot shots at the Mets when I can.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, here, tell you what, I'll go that route instead. Let's put that.
No. It's honestly a lot. I was like at the beginning of the season, the Mets did make a lot of big signings. I was like, some of those signings did seem good. I think they were overpaying for a lot of those players, but now we see why they were being extremely overpaid. But like specifically like Nimmo, McNeil, both of them off the face of the earth. The injury to Diaz, that was I'm not counting that one. That one's a fluke injury. It sucks, but I don't count that as part of their failures.
No, that's just like World Baseball Classic.
Like the only player that like one of their only players that have been doing good was Pete Alonso and David Robertson. Yeah, and even then Robertson has his hiccups. But then again, the Mets still need to be winning a game for Robertson to come in for a save.
But if you look at, let me see if I can do this a better way. I'm going to do it this way for just a minute here.
That's fine.
If you look at it here, the Mets right now are 18.5 games out of first. Now, Atlanta's the best team in the league. Let's call that what it is. But they have to jump past 2 other teams here just to get into second place at this point.
Yep.
You know,
And wild card is a nightmare situation for them.
100%.
They're basically 6.5 behind where they need to be fighting for a playoff spot.
There. That's the wild card
Yeah.
breakdown right there.
hmm
So if I can
Yeah, like I
speed
said,
that
they're
over.
about 6.5 out.
Yeah. So oh shit. All right, hang on a sec.
Well,
Let's go with
correction,
that for
they're 6.5 out from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So they leapfrog Philly. They'll be fighting for a wild card spot.
But right
Right
now,
now, though, they are not.
San Francisco is the lowest tiered wild card team at the moment.
Yes.
So you
And
look at
so
that.
7.5.
That is a clean 8 games, and in this
Games.
case, 5 teams minimum they have to jump over.
It can
And
be done.
if
Like I'm looking at the teams there. Will Cincinnati keep up this insane pace? Probably not. Cubs, they had like a
go
2 week
for it.
span of really good play. They're
Pittsburgh
back
has
to
been
earth.
dropping off the map too.
Yep,
Pittsburgh had a great
Pittsburgh's
start.
dropping off, so it's certainly possible. And I don't think San Francisco is going to keep it up. So
You know, the Dodgers will be fine. Miami,
it's
personally, I would like Miami to stay put. You know,
it
I
would
mean,
be nice, but well, if it's Miami at the cost of Philly and the Mets, then no, I'd rather have Miami start losing.
I
But
understand that.
but they're doing well. Like no, Miami's a good team this year,
Mhm.
and they haven't been floundering. But the thing is, it's like all those teams except the Dodgers are certainly capable
Mhm.
of face planning, and they've done it before.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
But then again, so have the Mets.
right now the
So
Dodgers,
it's
amazingly, are only a game and a half out of a playoff spot.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah, it's like it, it's not good that the Mets are this far out, but it's not unreachable. It's not an impossible thought. It's not an impossible wager to have them be fighting for a wild card spot if things start getting better.
but when the owner starts having press conferences talking about righting the ship, that's usually a really bad sign. That's like the
Uh,
to me that is the official warning to the team.
it is. No, absolutely. No, it absolutely is.
Mhm.
If they keep playing as bad as they are, Cohen absolutely should be making some moves.
And
No,
I, honestly, yeah, Buck, I think is officially on the hot seat at this point.
yes,
Aaron Boone,
I think that yeah no that press conference was a this is the warning.
mhm,
That's fine. You know what? I'd rather have that rather than him just start blowing smoke up your ass.
mhm,
It's like that. It's refreshing. He's not like berating everyone. He was very meticulous
mhm,
in the words that he was using.
yeah,
He was very careful with the words he chose,
you know,
and as he should be. But
but with a third of a
it is
billion dollar
not
payroll,
out of reach.
mhm,
It is definitely like yeah it's but you can't go 7-20 in a month again.
yeah,
Or 7-18 or whatever the heck
you
they
know,
did.
but if
Either way,
you,
I know that they had like the second worst record in June.
but also if you look at, let me see if I can zoom this
Oh
in a
yeah,
little.
no. Oh, payroll wise, oh no, they are
Yeah,
playing so bad on their
that's
payroll.
it's about the best I
Like
can do there.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
they're making the Yankees payroll look cheap.
But see, the
But
amazing thing, the Yankees are second highest at 279, which okay, they've
yeah,
never really been high ever since Steinbrenner took over.
ever since Hal
Yeah,
Hal took over
but
fully took over the
that
reins.
is 69 at almost
But
69 and a half,
honestly,
almost 70
it's like
million dollars higher for the
yeah,
Mets.
yeah, no, it's Cohen threw money in the free agency as honestly more owners should.
Hmm.
But it's like I'm not faulting Cohen for throwing money out there. More owners should be doing that. But the thing is, they aren't performing to the level that they should be for those paychecks.
If you look at the
They
basically,
are
go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
They're basically showing that they're basically doing what Steinbrenner did
Hmm.
in like the late 90s in like the 90s 2000s
We
eras.
talked about that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and you know what? And that's fine. But with the higher costs comes more criticism.
Hmm.
Absolutely. It's like if you're going to be throwing this much money at them, you better be playing well. It does add more pressure, no doubt. And if they can't play to their contracts, then they should be shipped out.
But if you look at this breakdown here, of all of the teams over $200 million here, only 2 teams have a 550 win percentage or better. The
Mm-hmm.
Braves, who are running away with it right now. But the Dodgers are just a hair over that. But everybody else is below 550 and in some
Mm-hmm.
cases below 500 entirely. The
Yep.
Padres shocked me that way. I did not think the Padres would be that low.
Mm-hmm.
So
But there is one number that's standing out on this chart. Yankees
348.
injured reserve.
What's that?
Yankees injured reserve.
83 million. Yeah. There. That's the breakdown
83.
right there.
30 more than the nearest other team.
Yeah.
So it's like as awful as the Yankees have been playing, we can use that is at least a notable excuse.
Okay, so let me ask your opinion here. You know what? Let me go back to the payroll number for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mets right now, 348, injured reserve 32, low win percentage. Yankees 279, $83 million on injury, 548. Which of the two, I mean, both of them suck, but
Yeah.
which one is actually the worst? Because, I mean, the Yankees right now, injury
Honestly,
ain't at the
Mets are the
problem.
worst.
What's that?
Mets are the worst right now.
I would have to agree with that because of the fact that they're putting the talent on the field. You can't blame injuries.
But we're basically comparing two bags of crap.
Yeah.
Except one bag of crap happens to be on fire instead.
Mm.
You at the base of it all, they're still playing like crap.
You got two bags of crap, one plastic, one paper.
There you go.
The paper one you can set on fire, like you said.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
Exactly. So it's like they're both playing bad, but if we had to choose between the two, I'd say the Mets are worse.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the payroll.
Yeah.
It's weird saying that being a Yankee fan, but it's funny to see that from the outside this time.
But it's one of those things where Hal's frugality and then basically over expenditure. It's almost like I personally, and I've gotten in trouble for saying this, I personally did not want Aaron Judge re-signed with the Yankees.
Which is fine. You knew it was going to cost a lot.
Yes, and in this case here, you can already see it. He's been out for a month.
Mm-hmm.
He's missed almost half his games in the first year of a 9-year deal.
Yeah.
I know. 35, 36, 37. A body like that, and I said this years ago, a body like that is not designed to play 150 games.
No doubt.
He's 6'7", 282. That's too much work on the knees.
Well, look at Stanton.
Yeah, well, it's another example. I mean, he's 6'6", like 250.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and like I said, Stanton is like how much older? He's older than Judge.
Only by a couple years, though.
Yeah, only by a couple years, but he's still older than Judge. But so it's like you had the template of what you're gonna see, but the thing is, it's like the same thing with Jeter.
Mm-hmm.
When Jeter's was starting to when Jeter was really like going on the downhill and his contract came up, Yankees still had to throw money at him because if they didn't, it would have been a massive PR PR nightmare to begin with. And the Judge contract was one of those things that you kind of had to do.
See, I don't agree with that. I think I think if you saw this kind of injury stuff happening, with say San Francisco, which is the other team, he's heavy about, and you see the injuries, it's almost like in some ways you see with Jacob DeGrom.
Yes.
The Mets are looking at that thinking, okay, we dodged the bullet. Well, I think in a year or two, a lot of people will be looking at the Judge deal and think, I'm glad he went to San Francisco and stayed away from New York.
That certainly could have been the case. Absolutely. But the thing, DeGrom is like what, 38, 37?
He's 36, 37, yeah.
36,
by the way, I just want to point out Stanton's currently 33.
So. Okay. I thought Stanton was like a year. I thought Stanton was like 34, 35. But...
No, he turns about 3 months. He turned 34.
Right. He came up a lot sooner in his career than Judge.
Came up his first
Judge came up in like 25 years old.
He came up
really late.
Both of them came up at 25. But Stanton right now, he is under contract till 2027. So after this year, there's still 4 more years with him. So his deal might be bought out.
Them getting Stanton was big at the time. But yeah, it's like when it comes to the things with Stanton, he is your massive power hitter. It's just now everyone's throwing him low and away sliders,
and he's not protected in the lineup.
He can't. Yeah, exactly. And like, look. I was gonna say, I'm sure there's like some sabermetric somewhere that explains this. Show how many down and away sliders Stanton gets compared to the next highest power hitter.
I actually know where I know the website I can find that from too, by the way. I don't know how to.
So it's like he has a very notable weakness, and it's a down and away slider. And
reminds me in some ways, Darryl Strawberry had the same problem with down and away.
Yep.
Left-handed curveball pitchers used to crush him. Used to kill him with it when he was with the Mets.
Yep. Yeah, or it's like, or just any pitch really down and away. Lefties have a harder time unless they know how to throw like a really good, a two-seamer with a lot of break.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if you look at the pitch breakdown, that's what they throw them.
Hey, you go with what
They
works.
stay away the whole time. They keep it down the whole time, and eventually he bites, or the ump gives them a call.
Mm-hmm.
And more often than not, it's one of those two outcomes. He bites or he gets a call. Look at Judge with all the low strikes that he got.
Mm-hmm.
Because
the umpires can't figure out the height.
It's like the guy's 6'7". His knees are up to the catcher's face.
Yeah.
You can't call it. It's like, well, I've been vocal about how much umpires have been pissing me off lately.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I understand that they have a disadvantage in that aspect, being that they're so tall and they have such a gigantic strike zone. I can understand. I wasn't expecting Stanton to be hitting 300, but I was expecting him to do a little better than what he's doing right now.
Would you have settled for 250?
I would. Oh, absolutely. For someone like him, I would settle for 250. Absolutely. It's like for a major power hitter, I would expect say 30 some home runs, pushing 100 RBI, 250 average. I'd say that's worth it for him. But then you get but then he's not the only problem on that lineup right now.
Oh no, the entire lineup's top to bottom's a problem.
Top to bottom.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the concerns are in that Yankee Nation, just because of the fact that there is no security of any sort. I mean, you mentioned Billy McKinney, or Anthony Rizzo. Okay, fine, but
then you get Aaron Boone.
Obviously, in this case, that's 2 out of 9. In a best case scenario. So okay, you get Judge back. That's still 3 out of 9. And if everybody else is struggling, which by the way, point this out. The stats when Judge basically, the entire season, including when Judge was with the team, they were 4th worst in batting average at 231 when he was still in the entire. This is across the entire season. Their on base percentage was 3rd worst at 300, and they were 19th, at 372 runs, which is low end middle of the pack. And plate appearances was the worst, 3,077.
Yeah, no,
so
absolutely.
4th worst in batting average and 3rd worst in on base percentage, even for the entire season when Judge was even in there. So that's like I said, and that was still like April and May when the team is fresh.
Yep.
July, August, September.
Yeah. They don't have a single player hitting over 300 right now.
No, you don't.
You don't.
Judge right now is the best guy you got in that lineup for 291.
Yep. Followed by Ben Rottwelt, who doesn't really play, and followed by Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah.
Rizzo's having a good season in terms of batting average, and you know what? I've said it before, I say it again. Rizzo's the best free agent pickup they've had in years.
Okay.
Mainly just for his defense, but he can still hit. So you know what? I'll take him over most any first baseman not named Freddie Freeman. But following that, it's like everyone else, like the only other ones that are hitting around 250, IKF, Bader, McKinney.
Yeah.
Then you have Gleyber Torres, who's flirting with 250. Everyone else, awful. Like DJ LeMahieu should be hitting a lot higher. Anthony Volpe's finally seems to be hitting well. Like he's up to 221, which compared to his 190 average 2 weeks ago, I'll take that. That as long as he's on the upward trend, I'll take that.
By the way, I can't figure out why it's not giving me the entire team. It did initially.
I have ESPN. Just go to the New York Yankees and then click stats.
Let's see. I'll do it that way. They're all play. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, in this case here, I mean, Ben Rottwelt, 444 on base percentage, and he was
a somewhat like they hyped him up, and then he got hurt before he even played a single game. And then they brought in Trevino, who had an amazing season last year, but this season he's back down to earth. Well, but
actually, no.
Thinking about it, I'm looking at a lot of these players. A lot of the ones that were around last season that had a good season fell back to earth really, really hard. Like case in point, Peraza, way back to earth.
Mhm.
Cabrera, way back to earth. Trevino, right back to earth. Torres
Higashioka
is
only 213 too.
yeah, no, Higashioka is he's you kind of expected that with him. Pitching wise, back to earth. Severino, Cortez.
Yeah, I mean, right now that's
everyone that did well has fallen back to earth.
Game starts. Let's do it that way. All right, there's your main starters right now and your numbers for them.
Yep.
So you have one. Basically, you got Garrett Cole right now of all your starters is sub 3. Okay, fine.
Yep.
So what do you expect out of that?
Cole's the only pitcher that's consistently doing well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unfortunately when he seems to hit or when he seems to pitch, no one hits.
Yeah, I mean Clark Schmidt 437. 437 is not bad, but once you break 450, which Herman did, Brito and Cortez, then you have problems there.
Yeah. The other thing is
Sevy's a
Aaron.
6'3", so.
The other thing I'm really pissed off about is how Aaron Boone makes that freaking lineup. He had Jake Bauers leading off for weeks, and yeah. No, he is his lineup management is some of the worst I've ever seen.
I want to check something real quick. Humor me for a minute.
Sure.
Yeah. See, right now you only have one person right now halfway through the season with more than 10 stolen bases.
And it's Volpe, I think, right?
Caught stealing 16 out of 17 is fantastic.
Oh no. Volpe's doing well in everything except batting average.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a shame because he was like the guy set to be their leadoff hitter.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be having a leadoff hitter when you're batting when you're flirting with the Mendoza line.
But
that's what we saw with Brett Gardner in his later years.
This right here, I don't know how well you can see it. I hope you can.
Yeah.
This is basically, to me, one of the biggest, most telling signs of this. You are now 84 games into your season, 85 games, correction, into the season at this point.
Yep.
And you only have one person who actually has 40 RBIs.
And he's been out half the season.
Yes. So outside of that, Rizzo has 37 RBIs. And currently, and you are about 54% of the way through the season.
Yep.
So currently, at a good case scenario, he can get your best guy can get you 75 RBIs.
Yeah. And then that's what's going to happen when you have players who are only swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
Like none of them know how to get on base.
Mm-hmm. And Volpe,
sure, they work counts, but then they'll end that count with a strikeout or a lazy fly ball. It's just or grounded double play. But it's like if you're not getting people on, if your entire top of the lineup is hitting is like flirting with 250 and lower, you're not going to get RBI opportunities. Like the only RBIs are going to happen in extra innings. It's just whoever they have on that hitting coach staff needs to be fired at this point. Because it's the second season in a row that this is happening. It's like if that's the case, then the problem, the players are certainly a problem, but the problem extends deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's rough. It is absolutely rough. They need to there are changes that will need to be made if this keeps up, starting with management and players like Donaldson.
Well, like I said, he's going to be gone at the end of the year anyway, so probably there.
Yeah, or they should just throw him into the sun like they did with Aaron Hicks. It's like, pardon me. Like, fine, let him go. Let a team pick him up. He does well. Great. He wasn't doing that for the Yankees. So it's like, you can say, oh, Gallo did so well after he left the Yankees. Oh, Hicks is doing well after he left the Yankees. That's great. He wasn't doing it they weren't doing it for the Yankees. They weren't doing it when they're playing for the Yankees. Whether it be poor management, whether it be they couldn't handle the pressure, whether it be whatever the heck the reason is, they weren't doing it.
Now, I just want to show a comparison here. Basically, I'm showing you the Yankees stats and all this kind of stuff. This right now is the Texas Rangers numbers. Now, I don't know why I can't get rid of that. How can we help you? I'm trying to get rid of that. I can't do it. I gave up.
How can we help you?
How can we help you? You can get rid of that freaking red thing at the bottom there. That's how you help me. I refreshed this thing and went back out, back in again. It's like, no, we're leaving that up there.
Mhm.
But you have right now 1, 2, 3. It's actually let's include Judge into that. You right now have 6 guys on that team in Texas Rangers who have more RBIs than Aaron Judge has, and
Mhm.
leads the Yankees right now.
Yep. No,
And
absolutely. Yeah, it's also look at the batting averages. You
yeah,
got Corey Seager hitting 350.
yeah,
Janikowski, whoever the hell that is hitting 325. Duran 308.
yeah.
Tavares 306. Four players that are hitting over 300, which means that they're getting on base.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to the walks, it's just, and I'm looking at some of the other ones. The other players, Nathaniel Lowe,
Yeah.
47 walks.
Mm-hmm.
Garcia, 32.
Actually, that's a good one. Let's look at on base percentage.
Semyon, 36. Yeah, exactly. On base percentage,
There we
really
go.
good.
So
OPS, really good.
there's
So
the
they're doing
Yankees.
great.
Yeah. I mean, let's leave out Ben. Let's leave out good old Ben there for a second. You have 3 players that are. Let's see, how many you got here? Let's see, starting from IKF. So you have 8 players here with an on base percentage above 300. So getting on base 3 out of 10 times.
Mhm.
I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. I haven't looked at
Yeah.
these numbers.
Oh, it's like, don't get me wrong. Yankees can work a count.
12
They are
12 on that
absolutely
side.
good at working counts. That's the one thing that they do seem to do well is work a count. It's just, unfortunately, in working that count, their hitting is not as suffering. Yeah, and like I said before, yeah, they'll get on base with a walk. That's sure, a walk is as good as a hit. Fantastic. But what happens when they're on? The next 3
Yeah, I
batters
was going
strike
to say
out.
nothing happens if you strand the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Next 3 batters strike out or ground into a double play.
But yeah, Yankees
It's
right now. Yankees have 4 guys right now with 10 or more home runs.
Yeah.
Right now, the Texas Rangers have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yep.
Including a guy with more than Aaron Judge. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
there's your difference right there.
Yep.
On a massive scale of what these 2
Mhm.
teams are like, and this is why one team is top of the heap and the Yankees aren't.
Yep.
So I, for one, will be very curious to see if the Yankees have the same post All-Star game meltdown they had last year, because that team got tired. The only reason they got into the playoffs is because they were just unstoppable.
They had a historic first half.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Solid overall season, but a
Mhm.
historic first half.
And Judge was healthy for the good portion of the season.
It was a contract year for Mr. Judge.
Yep. And
Now he's got
out of his
360 million.
mind.
He's got 360 million bones staring at him right now.
Yep. It's like, well, like I said, it's like that contract, you knew the Yankees were going to have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. And he actually took less money than had he gone to, say, like the Padres.
Sure.
So it's like, you know what? I don't fault the contract too much because that was one of those things that just had to be done. Now, do I wish he was healthy? Absolutely.
Sure.
But that contract, fine. Contract like Donaldson's? No. Contract like Gallows? No. Hicks? No. So it's like, I don't mind large contracts as long as they're going to people that deserve them, either through their past accomplishments, either through what they mean to a team. Like if your captain's in a contract year and he goes out of his mind, even if you think that he's going to fall off the face of the earth the next 10 years, you offered him the contract because of what he meant to the team. That's kind of why I was really surprised when the Cubs let Rizzo go.
Mm-hmm.
Because Rizzo was like the heart and soul of that team. And he's showing that he has a lot of heart for the Yankees. So you know what? I don't mind Rizzo's them giving Rizzo a good contract.
That was actually a more or less universally, friendly deal on both sides, I think.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
funny thing I just pulled up here. Right now, the Yankees win percentage is .548 with Judge. The Giants win percentage is .548 without Judge.
Yeah, I know. Well, here's the thing. Yankees without Judge is a lot worse.
But the point being is that in the offseason, they're like, oh my God, we lost Rodon, we lost all of these kind of things. We're going to suck. It's like you have literally the same record as the Yankees and almost 100 points better than the Mets right now.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's exactly. And even with all the Yankee struggles, you could have the Mets.
Exactly. So
who threw all that money at Justin Verlander. And age seems to have finally caught up with him.
Yeah, Scherzer, it's starting to show there. I mean, that starting pitching staff was last year amongst the best in baseball. Now it's definitely in baseball. It is definitely
in
amongst the numbers
baseball. It's
of
in baseball.
it
Yes,
is definitely a stat in
that's a
baseball.
statement. It's in
It's
baseball
been
now.
baseball,
It's in
but
baseball.
it's funny
But
because just like JD, my wife can't watch the Mets right now. She gets too angry. She does, she used to do the fast forwards every morning.
mhm.
Just
Yep.
didn't matter, win, lose, or draw, 45 minutes, done, move on.
Yep.
She's like, I can't.
Absolutely.
She just goes in and just like mass deletes like 15 of them
Yep.
just to clear up
Is
speed EDR. She's like, I can't do it right now.
it's so
You know,
it's frustrating. It's
yeah.
frustrating to watch, and it's like I'm in the position where I could root for both the Yankees and the Phillies.
Hmm.
It's just the
And the
Yankees met
Orioles,
the
dude, you're not too
Phillies.
far from there either.
No, oh no, I live. Yeah, there you go, the Orioles. But I one of my goals is to actually see a game in all the baseball parks, and
We
Orioles is the
got
next
that
one on my
here.
list, and possibly Seattle in September. But
You,
that's
you
beside the
know,
point.
you know what I really want to do since we're talking about that. We'll probably wrap up in a minute. I think
Mhm.
I got to see baseball games around the world.
That
I
would be
want to
cool.
see Japan. I want to see Australia. I want to see because there's golf
Japan's an
crap here.
experience.
There's like soccer fanaticism,
Yeah,
in
for
those
baseball.
in those ballparks over there. And
For Australia,
oh, dude, Australia's hardcore.
really?
If you watch them during the World Baseball Classic when they
Hmm.
were playing over there, in Japan, you watch all of these Aussies and the passion and the energy and the fire that they had. It
That's
felt like
great.
soccer. It hooked me. That's why I reached out to the
Okay.
ABL because I'm like, I'm really freaking impressed with you guys.
Okay. No,
You
absolutely.
know,
That's awesome.
I got stream punk numbers running through my head about what we can possibly do. Start like procuring like streaming rights here in the states.
No, that'd be awesome.
Dude, ABL, screw it. I
Okay.
listen. I've swapped emails with the GM of the Giants over there, the Adelaide Giants, who, by
Okay.
the way, have a female manager now. So,
Nice.
so
Yeah. Speaking of female managers, the Yankees one, the one who's managing the Yankees minor league,
mhm.
one of the Yankees minor league affiliates, got her first ejection by a female ump.
Respect. You know,
Yep.
listen, you're not a
First
manager
time
until
a
you get
female
ejected
manager's
at
been
least once.
ejected.
You're not a manager
But
until you get at least
yep.
ejected at least one
So
time. So,
yep. But before we wrap up, definitely, who do you have as your biggest? Well, I was gonna say, are the like the studs and duds? Who are your studs for this year?
you know what? It's
Team
gonna
and player.
team and player.
Team player, and we'll split it AL NL.
Okay. The AL right now, I think Stud has to kind of in some ways go on two different fronts in the same team. The Texas Rangers and
Okay.
Nathan Eovaldi with the Texas Rangers.
Okay. Yeah, no, he is
Because
absolutely having a fantastic season.
because this key, and I did not pick them to be. I thought they were going to improve a little bit, but I just figured it was the Astros division until it wasn't. But Eovaldi, I think, has like a 2.43 ERA right now, something along those lines.
Okay.
And I'm just really impressed with some of the numbers that he's been able to pull in on that.
Okay.
So I have no qualms with that one. As far as I'm trying to go a little bit outside of the norm because you can go with like the Braves or the Braves are 675. Fine, we know that already. I'm not trying. I'm trying to go with something a little different. You know, as far as the dud side of it, I think we've already covered that one pretty hardcore. I don't think it gets much worse than what the Yankees have been doing in that regard. And I'm going to be boring and I'll probably say the duds will be on the Mets too, and just throw a rock, hit one, that guy. Um, because
Just the Mets.
yeah, I feel bad with that because City Field, and I'll be there on Wednesday. City Field has such a good energy and such a good passion that the fan base deserves better, but they
Yes.
have this psychological Mets syndrome going on,
Mm.
and I just it makes me kind of sad. It really, really kind of does.
Mm.
Um, I think as far as the studs on the National League side, honestly, I gotta be excited for the Diamondbacks. I didn't see
Okay.
it necessarily. They are first place in the West. Who knows if it's going to still stay? I don't know for sure. But I like what they've been able to do against high payroll teams like LA and also like San Diego, who also honestly I can make my argument as a dud too, because the lineup that they've got should not be doing as badly as they are. And at the risk of basically being boring, I could say, Ronald Acuna, but Luis Arias in Miami. And Miami also is a borderline stud for me as well, because
Okay.
Miami struggled in mediocrity. Yeah, they got into the playoffs and got to the second round during the COVID year, but it's weird. Don Mattingly leaves, and all of a sudden the team takes off.
I feel bad for Donnie Baseball. I
Dude,
really do.
you know,
Well, isn't Mattingly on the Rays now?
No, he's the bench coach for the Toronto Blue Jays. Not a bad thing
Blue
either.
Jays, okay.
But it's
Who
weird
are
because it has this sort of, it's like this Buck Showalter thing where
it
Buck
really
goes to
is.
wherever he goes, like the team is destined to win. It's like, remember that was that
Yeah.
Dane Cook movie with Jessica Alba where, he'd bone a girl and then he'd be cursed, he'd bone a girl, and then they would immediately find their true love after him. And he
Ooh.
falls in love with Jessica Alba and he's not sure what to do. I don't remember
That's
the
kind of
name
like
of
my
it.
love life, to be honest. Past three girlfriend, like the past like three or four girlfriends I've had, they married the next person. I'm like, Jesus
Dude,
Christ.
sucks to hear that, but yes, I mean, look at whatever that movie is. Dane Cook and Jessica Alba, and I can't remember the name of it or what the story was. It was like 15 years ago, but
Yeah, I forget what it was called, but
yeah,
I know which movie you're talking about.
yeah. Arias had 391 batting average and also 442 on base percentage. Both are highest in the league by a pretty wide margin.
Yeah, no,
Right now,
Arise is
right
he's
now it's
doing it. He's
56
doing
points.
Ted Williams.
He's 56 points higher than second place Ronald Acuna in batting average, and for on base percentage, he's 18 points ahead of Juan Soto.
Dang.
Who has a good year despite a really crappy lineup there. So yeah, I mean, Luis Arias, I think you have to go with as a stud on that. Dud,
Mhm.
I don't know. Do I go for Verlander? Because they threw so much money at him and dudded out in so many ways. And like I said, the Mets are disappointing because 348 million. You felt like
Absolutely.
there was last year hurt, but you kind of felt like maybe they'd be able to rebound a little bit. They'd be able to do some stuff, and it just has not happened. And Buck could be out of a job.
Yep.
He could be out of the job in the next couple of months. I think.
Yeah. Well, and it's a shame because it's like I think he is still is one of the better managers in baseball. It's just either something doesn't click with him. Like he has one of the best baseball minds of any manager I've ever seen in recent years, but things just haven't come together for him since the Orioles made those runs in the late 2000s.
And it's funny because with somebody like Buck, you have to wonder with the team playing the way they are, has he lost the locker room?
He might honestly. Well, when a team flops that hard, there's got to be some discontent.
I mean, after a while, you go tone deaf to your leaders. That's just how it worked. But it's a
Look what
lot.
happened to the Phillies
Yeah.
last year.
Oh yeah. And then Girardi's out, and suddenly
Yeah.
they take off.
And the thing is, it wasn't even Girardi's fault. It's just the team played like crap. And once he got booted, the team somehow woke up. Maybe them seeing that their poor showing cost their manager his job, and then maybe they figured, maybe they're like, okay, no, we gotta wake up, we gotta pull around. So even if it wasn't the
I
manager's
can't
fault,
imagine he was
just
popular.
watching him get booted
I can't
could
imagine
be
he was
the
popular in that locker room though. I've heard some of
Girardi.
the things that Girardi has done, like with the Yankees in the locker room, and he pissed off a lot of Yankees.
That could be it too.
Sodas were banned. I mean, a lot of you're only allowed X, Y, and Z in the locker room. That kind of stuff that really
I
I think
forgot he
made it
did
very
that.
difficult that way. So
Yeah, no, I forgot he did that. Yeah, that'll do it. It's like I understand you could ban certain things. Banning soda is stupid.
yeah, that was one of them. So
It's like you could ban some things, but then don't go too far.
you can't drink a Diet Coke in the locker room after a 12-1 win.
Sweeter than aspartame. But yeah, let's see. For me though, I will I'll start with the American League. Stud in terms of team. Let's see. Team for the Rangers are definitely good, but I'm gonna go a little differently, and I'm gonna say the Rays.
Fair.
I was like, we knew the Rays were gonna be contenders, at least for the AL East. I didn't think that the Rays would be just destroying competition. Like I'm looking at the scoring differential. They have a better differential than the Rangers. Better record, better differential. Like the only thing the Rangers got is more runs scored. But even then, it's like, in terms of player, though, yeah, you could throw a dart and hit on a few players and be fine with it. But I'm gonna go with Ohtani. Guy is playing out of his friggin' mind.
Sorry, but
what's up?
I forgot to get my player stud on that. But yeah, you have to. He's
Well,
crushing.
he kind of did. Well, he kind of did one going through it. But yeah, no. Player wise, I'm definitely gonna say stud for the first half is Ohtani, because he's basically doing what Judge did last season,
Mhm.
and then adding a Cy Young pitching performance on top of it. Like, it's apparently he took that not winning the MVP last season personally.
Mhm.
He is just like, he is doing something historic.
I think if the team had been better, though, I think the voting would have been
Oh
better.
my
But
god.
the Angels have sucked, and this might be his last month in
Oh
an
yeah,
Angel
absolutely.
uniform.
And honestly, it should be,
Yeah,
because
and then
it's
Trout,
like,
you might start hearing him start to
yeah, oh,
write
he
more.
has been. He
Yeah,
has been chirping.
but I think he might ramp that up a little bit
Oh,
as the last
absolutely.
guy in that
No,
lineup.
absolutely. And it's a shame.
Mm.
You have It's like, if you're looking at like fantasy stats, you have like literally players 1 and 2
Mhm.
on your team, and you're still losing games like 7-3.
Yep.
It is such an absurd thing to see. Like, for any other team, having those two on the same team should be causing your team to flirt with a 120 win season. Not just, it's like with both Otani and Trout hitting, you have Otani pitching too. And
Mhm.
like, and as I said, he's having a Cy Young caliber season so
Yeah.
far. It's it is in This is something that you haven't seen since, like, ever. Even when Ruth was hitting those insane home run seasons, he wasn't pitching those seasons. Like, he was putting up decent hitting numbers when he was pitching, but he didn't really
He
start putting on those absurd numbers until he stopped pitching.
he pitched a couple of times for the
He
Yankees, not
did.
that
Oh,
often,
he did,
but
but like a reliever role, or
yeah.
like
But
once, like a one-off role. Like he wasn't a starter. Like
I
like 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 he wasn't a regular starter.
I admit 100%. I figured his body would be breaking down at this point. I really did.
So did I. No, me too.
You know,
But you know what? No,
I didn't.
he's proven us all wrong.
Yeah,
And
I'll take that 100%
oh
back.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, no, in terms of stud, he is that. It's like, it's him, and then everyone
Mhm.
else. And out of everyone, and non-Otani, I'd say like Arise is doing
Mhm.
crazy good. I definitely give him credit. Let's see. Luis Robert has been having a nice comeback season.
Mhm.
Who uh Otherwise it would probably be maybe like Corey Seager or Semien or Garcia from
Sure.
the Rangers, or a Rosarena.
Yeah.
And like
Yep.
like ever like it's like, yeah, he seemed to have been known as the guy who like had a meh season and then just kicked it into like triple gear in the playoffs. But this season he's actually been high gear the entire time ever since the WBC. So he's another guy that I could definitely say on the thumbs up for.
I didn't put the Rays on that because it's too easy. Because they've been there
It
pretty much.
is,
You know what you're going to get with that team pretty much.
mm,
It's better than
but
normal. Yeah, but yeah, I
yes.
mean, I just figured, okay, they'll be in a playoff spot. So I didn't really focus too hard on that team. The Rangers surprised me a little bit more, which
Didn't
is why I
they
want to put
didn't they
attention
like
on.
make like a couple weird moves in the offseason? Like, people were like looking at it and are like, okay, that's okay. It just
Mhm.
never really just didn't like register as like, okay, this is going to be a great move. No, it's like they were relatively quiet in the offseason too. And so, like, I did not expect them to. It's like I said, I expected them to be middle of the pack, fighting for like a wild card playoff spot. I did not expect them to be running away with the best division in baseball.
Sure. Which
So
is
no, that
ironic because if you look at it,
yeah.
the AL East has 5 teams over 500.
Hmm.
The AL Central has
Yeah.
5 teams under 500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the AL West teams all have Oakland to beat up.
Yeah. Oh no,
So it's like, and the AL Central has Kansas City to beat up.
dude. I don't know if you saw the Yankee games where they're playing out in Oakland, that was sad. There was just nobody out there. And
It's
I don't blame
depressing.
the fans for
No,
not
I
showing
don't
up.
blame the fan. Well, especially after the announcement that that it's pretty much a done deal that they're going to be
Tickets were as low
leaving.
as $6. I looked it up the other day.
Yeah. And you know what? For I feel bad for the fans in Oakland, because they have fans there. It's just their owner is such a schmuck that,
Both, dude. They lost the Raiders too.
yeah,
Mhm.
both owners, both of
Yeah,
them. And before that, they lost the Warriors,
yeah.
or who was it? What was it, the Warriors?
Well, Oakland. The Warriors were in Oakland for a while, and then went down
Okay,
to San Francisco. Yeah,
San Francisco, yeah.
yeah. San Francisco
Yeah,
Warriors.
so they lost three major sports teams.
And actually, technically, they lost the Raiders twice because the Raiders went to LA, which I guess isn't that bad. I guess necessarily. But
The LA then back, yeah.
yeah, and then
That
like I
that
said,
that wow.
with the
But
Golden
yeah,
Knights,
it's
whose
nuts.
uniform looks like piss yellow.
Yep,
Keep thinking about them.
and you know what? And then those owners are getting paydays for it.
I
It's
think
disgusting.
Oakland right now, I think has some like USL soccer team. There's some low end stuff in there, not much, but I
Mhm.
think Oakland might have a push to get something in the near future. I do.
Okay.
And I think it could be honestly, if I was smart and pretending for a second I was, I would look at XFL. And I think The Rock would be able to
That could work.
because if you see what happened with St. Louis when they got their football team both years, 2020 and 2023, both years, they were drawing 1 million viewers a game in the city itself and in St.
Okay.
Louis itself for
Where will they play though? Because you don't want to play the Coliseum.
I don't know, but I'm saying if they can figure out some way to do that or some outlying place, I think the fans will be starved enough for something like that. Baseball is a little tougher, but
Mhm.
I think if you get an XFL team or maybe a USFL team out there,
Soccer.
soccer right now they are trying to push out there, but the problem is
It's
they have
it requires a smaller stadium,
it does,
so it'll
but
be cheaper.
they just added St. Louis over there for MLS.
Okay.
So, and I'm talking the West in general, and I'm not really being
St.
specific.
Louis as the West?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
Wow,
in the West. Yeah.
they're really cutting it.
They are, yeah. It's a weird system, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's also technically the West in the NHL too. They're a Western team,
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
so
Right.
yeah,
It's tech
it's like the
big brand.
Mississippi is like the line.
It is, and they are literally on the line, so
Yeah, so
and then unless you want Kansas City, but
yeah. Well, Kansas
yep.
City has a
Yep.
soccer team
So
now. Oakland could probably work. I think, like I said, I think they got like a USL
okay.
team or something out there, some Division
Mhm.
two level team.
Gotcha. All
But
right. So to avoid keeping going on the
sure,
tangent,
sorry.
so no, it's like I'm looking at the time. I'm like, oh, we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, we should wrap this up. I said
So
that 15 minutes ago.
yeah, but hey, no, this is
Okay,
it's
not judging.
honestly it's mid season. It's time to do the picks. But all right, so for AL, I got the studs. AL duds, Yankees, but also it's Yankees are doing terribly. But in terms of dud overall, Oakland.
Yeah,
That it's just a
the
dud for
team gave
everything
up.
behind the scenes for them.
Yeah.
Everything behind the scenes is a dud for Oakland. Player wise, it's like I gotta throw a dart at the Yankees, but then again, looking at the Toronto Blue Jays, they are underperforming quite
Hmm.
insanely too. Like it's like I'm looking at the batting averages. Like yeah, Matt Chapman,
Yeah.
he's not doing too well. Let's see, Kirk or
Hmm.
Alejandro Kirk, he's not doing well. Cavan Biggio, which is a shame because he's a friend of my brother's,
Really?
and yep, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, he's a friend of my brother's of one of my brother's best friends,
Okay.
and whenever he visited them, he he basically hung out with them and saw them when they were in college and whatnot.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, yeah. Cavan Biggio played on the same team as my brother's friend
Nice.
in college. So yeah, unfortunately, he got hurt and couldn't. He was a really good pitcher,
Hmm.
but he got hurt and didn't really make much of it. While Biggio was fantastic, but that's beside the point. But Blue Jays have not been doing well either, which is a shame. Uh, just Red Sox suck, but I that's beside the point. But overall, though, team wise, Royals and Athletics, player wise, aside from Donaldson or any of the Yankees, because I could just literally throw a dart and be correct with there. Just trying to think like Angels too.
Every
But
year.
yep, every year. But yeah, it's like. hmm,
The Mets of the West.
Yep, Mets of the West.
Hmm.
So you could really go with a whole bunch of difference, but you know what? I'm just going to go with Donaldson because I want him to be shot into the sun, just like Aaron Hicks was. But and Aaron Boone.
Hmm.
But all right, so that's that for the AL,
Nice.
NL stud team. Um, Honestly, I'm going to go with the Marlins.
Fair.
I did not expect them to be
I
doing
love
as
it.
well and staying doing
Hmm.
so well. Like the initial surge of the Pirates, it's like you knew that wasn't going to last, even though it was nice to see. Diamondbacks, well, Diamondbacks are holding strong too, so you're definitely right on that front.
Hmm.
But you know what? We knew the Braves were gonna be contenders for the AL for the NL East, if not the best record in the NL.
Hmm.
So you knew they were gonna do phenomenal. So and they are playing as as expected, but the Marlins were the biggest stud, the biggest surprise that I'll give them.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, if the Braves weren't playing insane, it would basically be a 2-team race between the Braves and the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Player wise, Corbin Carroll.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna like if not Corbin Carroll, Acuna Jr. With the bigger bases and the increased amount of steals, he is taking full advantage of that. Like I'm looking at some of the stolen base stats. He is number 2 after Ruiz of Oakland.
Okay.
Ruiz has 42 stolen bases, but with middle to crappy stats everything else. Acuna Jr. is is like he's number 2 in steals. He is like where he is way up there in terms of RBIs. He's way up there in terms of home runs. He is the one of the best 5-tool players in baseball right now. And he has been playing like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? It's like between Corbin Carroll putting in an insane rookie season, I think is it his rookie season? I think it is.
I think it is, yes.
Yeah, it's his rookie season, and he's putting up numbers that are absurd. Like, yeah, so it's like, you know what? No, he's doing phenomenal. But overall, I'm gonna say, actually, no, I will go with Acuna.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Acuna as my stud for the NL. Flop Mets.
Big surprise there.
Mets. But then again, Padres have been playing like crap too.
Yeah.
With such a highly lauded lineup, highly lauded expectations, big expectations, and they are just face planting.
Bigger market. San Diego's more chill.
But even then, they like the Padres were slated to be the leaders in the West with all the moves with the moves and signings they did, and they're in 4th, just like the Mets. So it's like, and the thing is, the NL East may not. It's like, yeah, the Diamondbacks are playing great. The Diamondbacks are still not as good as Atlanta, and the Marlins are doing really well too. There are more better teams in the NL East. So the Mets playing bad is kind of like the Yankees playing bad in the AL East.
Mm-hmm.
The NL West, aside from the Diamondbacks and the 1-2 tandem of Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts on the Dodgers, there really isn't that much in the NL West.
Yeah.
Like and like even then they have the Rockies to beat up on, kind of like how the NL have the Nationals to beat up on. But yeah, it's not now I go even more. Cardinals, last place.
Oh geez, my God, yeah.
Yeah, so there are 3 failures in the National League: Mets, Cardinals, Padres.
Yeah, we never talked about Cardinals in this case.
But... No, we don't. But they're one of those teams that's like, they're always there. They're always a contender. They're always their consistency is one of their strong points. It's like every year you see, it's like, okay, we got the playoffs in the NL. We got the same people in the net, and we got like the fight in the NL West. We got the fight in the NL East. Oh great. Oh hey, look, it's the Cardinals in the playoffs again. How about that? So it's they're a perennial playoff team, and they are playing really, really bad. Unless they face the Yankees, and then they play like an absurd team. Because
hey, like I said, Jordan Montgomery though, it's the Montgomery factor.
Well, even not Montgomery. That first game was atrocious as well. So it's like, yeah. So, but yeah, no, they're still a flop. They're still not a good. They're not doing well this year. Which makes you wonder, was them bringing over Contreras? Maybe Contreras really isn't that good of a pitch caller. Well, definitely not as good of a caller as Yadier Molina.
Mm-hmm.
Nor is he good at defensively. He might be a better hitter, sure, but changing your main catcher is not always that good of a transition.
Pitchers like stability.
They do. Also might explain why Wainwright is doing so bad.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So
If there's no
Mhm.
gel on that, yeah,
Nope,
definitely.
not
So
yet. So that's a topic for another day. But yeah, so 3 team flops: Mets, Cardinals, Padres. In terms of player, I'm gonna say Verlander. Verlander, they
sure.
brought him in as a big name, big contract, and I think he's
The
pitched
DeGrom
like what,
replacement,
two
really.
games? I think he's
Yeah,
pitched what, 2 games? Yeah,
that's yeah. I mean,
yep.
he was literally touted as the DeGrom replacement.
hmm Oh, which also makes me wonder, flops for the AL, Degrom.
Yeah,
So that honestly, those two, the two biggest, like two of the biggest pitching signings of the offseason last year have both turned out to be some pretty bad flops. So.
and the teams are on the hook for a while too. So whoops.
hmm The
So
only difference is the Rangers are actually doing really well without him,
yeah, they really are.
because that under the radar signing of Evaldi seems to be turning out quite well.
And they just added Aroldis Chapman, who might actually thrive, I think, or rebuild a little bit.
I think no, he
Middle
is a
reliever.
small market pitcher,
Yeah, middle reliever.
100%.
Yeah. I think Texas will fall into that. And, he doesn't have to be the
Uh,
closer.
Texas maybe not as much because that field is a bit more of a bandbox, so it's smaller than Kansas City, that's for sure.
Mm.
But
And Miss
yeah,
Loyalty.
so we'll see how that plays out. Is it a good move?
I like it.
Potentially,
I like it.
potentially.
But,
I
all right.
still remember what the heck he did. I still remember what he did for the Yankees, and I'm still annoyed about that. But that's beside the point.
Exactly.
But yep, you have my studs and duds.
Nice. So, yeah, we should probably wrap this up. It's been, 75 minutes here. So,
Yeah, longer
uh,
than expected.
that's okay. We made it work, though. So,
hmm
all right, folks. Thanks as always. I do appreciate. Kind of extended in this case, pre-July or July 4th holiday baseball breakdown here. I'm
I had a
Scott.
lot to say.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, in this case, we weren't sure how long it was going to go. Went longer than expected. So awesome. Anyway, until next time, guys,